Tanzania to be treated. So when I raise the concern of our people being stigmatized, extremist measures, when we have 31 people, Mr. Speaker, we're talking about conditional allocation. This money, which is an additional allocation, specifically if you look at the figures that have been given to Narok, that money is for hospitals, is for roads. If we have an unrest or we have a situation where our colleagues, or rather our brothers and sisters, because we cannot hide from the fact that some of us migrated from Tanzania and moved into this country. If they are suffering there, it is an issue that all of us should know and should be concerned about. So, Mr. Speaker, as I proceed, I want to encourage the young men and women and their teacher to pay attention to what is happening, even in the debate in this House. Because today, we are talking about sending money, additional allocation. First of all, there's a genesis as to why the bill was converted to additional allocation. And I think my good friend from the other side of the aisle would benefit when I tell him that when it was conditional grants, the county governments were saying that the Senate does not have any mandate to be able to oversight on that money. So the issue that I'm raising here are issues which are pertinent. Because, Mr. Speaker, when we talk about allocation of revenue to counties, this year we are discussing about money that will be sent to county governments for next financial year. But it's a bit hypocritical for us to discuss additional allocation that is going on this year. That money should have been dispersed in the first quarter. Because the amount of money that we're talking about right now, it's almost about 600. I'll give you the figure for that.
There's a point of intervention, Senator Faria.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just wanted to clarify to Senator Fonarok, Senator Kina, that this cash disbursement schedule is for the current financial year and not next financial year. And additional grants can be in two folds, conditional and unconditional, both of them. I mean, it carries both. So that's why it's called additional grants, whether it's conditional or unconditional. When it is given by donors, it's conditional. And when it is not, is given a grant by sometimes as a share of the national government share of revenue, then it's an unconditional grant. So that is and the combination of two is additional grant. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, my colleague from the other side did not really have anything to clarify, because I think I was very clear that my concern is one. Right now, we are discussing about sending money to county governments when the financial year has lapsed. The majority leader just said the financial year is coming to an end in a few days. So what I'm talking about is that I'm giving a very clear comparison in terms of when we talked about the revenue that was being sent to the county governments. If you look at what is in the order paper, it's for the financial year 2022-2023. But for the additional allocation, I said it's a bit hypocritical for us because this House and the National Assembly, involved in their own sibling rivalry, it took a very long time to be able to agree on a particular way to name the bill. So really, these are facts. And it's important that people understand that this money, which we are now talking about, sending the money to the county governments, may not even benefit the county. If you now bring in the argument and say that these are conditional grants are very specific. They are conditioned. And they are given on a drawdown system. They must be spent in a particular financial year. So no wonder, if you look at, and I'll invite you to look at the order paper for today, and that is what I sought clarity in the beginning. When you look at the order paper today, it gives a table, and it says conditional allocation. It gives a table for 2 financial years. That is taking about 1 billion shillings to Narok County. So that would be money that should have been sent this year and money which is now going to be sent next year. So I think it is imperative that for us now to be a little bit cognizant of the fact that the way we dilly-dally, the amount of time we waste in agreeing, in passing legislation, affects how projects are done on the ground. So, Mr. Speaker, it is my prayer that Treasury will find it in their heart to disperse this money before the financial year is over. And if they do disperse that money, I hope that I share the same sentiments as my colleagues, that the county governors should spend this money in a way that is supposed to benefit everybody. So, Mr. Speaker, the money that we're talking about here should have paid for hospitals. Every senator who comes here talks about, or the stories we hear on the ground, or even when we go to the Senate, to the hospitals, they are not drugs, the hospitals are not built, level 2. The money which is being sent to Narok, if I'm able to read this, for Narok County, Mr. Speaker, there's the NIDA funds of about 17 million. There is Sweden ASDSP2, which is 30 million. There's UNEPA, I cannot even see it, UNEP, which is about 7 million. The other money is on devolution support program, which is about 398 million. This money, Mr. Speaker, in reality may not be consumed during this financial year. I do hope that if the money is either held in the county revenue fund, when Treasury disperses this money, and maybe then at that particular time the condition given by the donor agencies would not have lapsed or would have met, I hope that the new governments coming in, and Mr. Speaker, this applies to you as well, you know, in a different way. If God is kind enough to make you the new governor of Bungoma, we hope that at least this money, because there is no way that this money is going to be spent by the current governors. You know, this money is going to be spent by the new governors coming in. You know, so whichever way, because I know my colleagues are afraid that the governors are going to spend this money to be able to campaign. Let them do it. You know, even if they do it, I think Kenyans who are suffering now, who have got no drugs in the hospitals, who have got no good roads, should ask themselves one question. Should we continue getting all these handouts that we are getting? Or should we question where the source of these funds are coming? Because people will continue suffering. And I think unless you are beaten, unless you have been caused to bleed, there is no way you are going to be able to, you know, in Maasai to say, you know what you call it, I'll remember it. It's that you have to, you know, I will translate.
Order,
Unless
Senator.
you are made, to suffer. Mr. Speaker, the standing orders allow for me to use a phrase and translate it. It's allowed, you know. So,
Yeah, which standing order
you know,
is
if
this
you
you're
don't know
putting?
your standing order as majority leader, allow me to take the standing order and I'll tell you the exact order. What it is.
Just admit you don't
You
know,
know,
it overhead
it talks
so that we proceed, Senator
Mr. Speaker,
Olekina, yes.
you know, me, when I know something is true, I'll say it. If we now, I will not withdraw that, Mr. Speaker, because you use a phrase and you translate it. And I'm sure the clerk is nodding because it is true. The standing order that talks about the language that the senator begins debating shall continue with that language to the end. So really, to get back to the other very, very important things that we're talking about, I want to reiterate on the importance of these additional
What's your point of order, Senator Cherargei?
Understanding order. Understanding order 87, Mr. Speaker, it says all proceedings of the Senate shall be conducted in Kiswahili, English, or in Kenyan Sign Language. Sub-article 2, Mr. Speaker, sir, as senator, and I think Senator Ledama should be listening carefully, because we don't want him to come as a second-term senator and these things escape from him. It says, a senator who begins a speech in any of the languages provided for under paragraph 1 shall continue in the same language until the conclusion of the senator's speech. So, Mr. Speaker, I request that Senator Ledama Olekina withdraws that phrase and apologizes to the House because it contravenes Standing Order number 87, Mr. Speaker. He cannot mislead the nation and the House and Moaso his students from his county by telling them that you can say in this language, then you switch, and then you translate it.
a house that relies on record. It is a house that when the other distinguished senators have used the phrase and translated it,
Is it a standing order?
it is in the standing order.
Which
87.
one? Which
if
one?
you cannot read it, you can actually be able, if you give me a few minutes, I'll be able to.
Yeah,
By law,
yeah,
you
guide-
give me 24 hours.
guide
Give
the
me
House.
24 hours and I'll come back with it. But what I was saying is that in the Maasai, we have a saying that says, "Meningisho ngirinde meme," which means, that is the word, what I said, which means, Mr. Speaker, that unless you inflicted some wounds and pains, you will never listen. So Kenyans out there ought to make the right decision. We are sending a lot of money. Mr. Speaker, look at this Senate today. The people who are here and also the people who are online are people, they are pastoralists who want money to be sent to them. You know, we have, I'm glad we have Gerald Gay here. We have pastoralists who are here, and I'm one of them, of course. And we want money to be sent for our hospital. And also we have the people from the coast region, which they are also our brothers. You know, we want them to be able to get this money. The blue economy, that's a blue economy, that's different. So, to be able to summarize my submissions, Mr. Speaker, I do hope that Treasury will be able to expedite, because this is not a bill that needs to go back to the National Assembly. This is something that goes straight to the President to be ascended to. This money can really help. And if this money is not dispersed this year, Mr. Speaker, sir, we've got colleagues here who are running to become governors. You know, Dr. Ali, we wish you all the best. The Speaker, we wish you all the best. When you get there, use the money wisely. Finally, I just want to still call upon all the president of the East African community to not to give a blind eye in what is happening in Tanzania right now with the Maasais. That is something that will continue entrenching colonial tendencies into this country. And we cannot allow. We have got to respect communities. We've got to ensure that even if I have land and you don't have.
Senator,
you know,
Senator,
this is something very painful. And I do
order,
hope.
Senator
Thank you,
Olekina.
Mr. Speaker.
Senator, we empathize and sympathize with our brothers there. But let's, like you said, Ecclesiastes, there's time for everything. No, because you are being irrelevant, Honorable Senator Olekina, with due respect. You know, you don't have to finish because it is not, you are being irrelevant as per our standing orders. Senator Musurube, your time is up, Senator Olekina.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity. And I must confess that when Senator Olekina was speaking on the floor of this House, I actually got confused.